We're back, folks. Another Thursday, another Dynamite review. Interesting times in the land of All Elite Wrestling. Another 3-hour block last night, right? Which I don't want to make those a habit, but we're here nonetheless. Excited to talk about. I think the best way to put it is an uneven Dynamite. There's some really good stuff on this show, and there's some less good stuff on this show. We have much to get into. We hope everyone is well. Please do like the video, subscribe, and if you're feeling generous, fire away with some super chats throughout the evening. Got the Fleet Free back in attendance. Charlie of Great Britain and WrestlePurists, how are you this evening?
I am doing good. I think I'm excited to talk about Dynamite. I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I do have notes. It is quite egregious how many notes I actually have. But this is what happens when the Elite are the centerfold of AEW. I just have so many ideas all the time. But as for the rest of the show, there was some stuff that happened. I'll figure out if I enjoyed it as we go on, as we tend to do on these podcasts. But Joe, how are you?
I'm good. I want to establish now, because I think there's an issue where we could say this too much tonight, so I'm going to say it now. Rough crowd in Winnipeg last night, and I think that's central to a lot of the conversation, I think, tonight. So I'll establish that, and we'll try our best to limit ourselves on that point, folks. But I'm well, happy to be here as always. Ayo, how are you tonight, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Started to talk about a up and down Dynamite. It was a lot of down until we got to the end, but there's stuff sprinkled in there that I like, stuff in there that I didn't like. There's a quote that I just made up. Just 2 seconds ago. These are the games we play, man. These are the games we play when we're reviewing weekly wrestling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also want to know. I want to defend us here for a moment. We're professionals. We do our job around here. We were on time, right? We were locked in, ready to go. Charlie was shuffling her notes. I was preparing my microphone, moving my chair up a little bit so I didn't look short. And our fearless leader, Montgomery, was in.
Tell them what he had us doing, Joe.
He was in here, and he was off camera, and for some reason, we were fantasy booking Jeff Hardy and what his next 3 chapters should be.
Yes.
This is a shoot, by the way.
And I mean, bless Chuck and O, such pros. They're going along and trying their best to sort of, let him down easily. And I looked at the time. It's 11:40.
Joe said it. No, Joe said we got a fucking show to do.
The Sixers are on in a couple of hours, bro. We got to get going here. So we apologize for being late, but it's not our fault. And when this video is done, you need to comment, Monet, don't make the team late again. That would be very important, I think, to all of us. But nonetheless, we've wasted enough time. Let's get into the show itself. And we do start on a positive, right, with that opening. The opening was awesome. Tony Khan appeared to be addressing this, and then next thing you know, he was not doing so. Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, the Elite, cut him off and explained they had ironclad contracts, which we assume that would be the explanation, right? That makes sense. And it immediately kind of patches up that potential plot hole. I appreciated that. And then they sent us to the new show opening video that was an Elite exclusive. And that was glorious, I must say. Ayo, is it fair to say that in an ideal world, that would be the show opening every week for you?
I'll go a step further and I'll say when it's no longer the show opening, I'm done with AEW Dynamite. I'm a Collision only guy. Matter of fact, we need to look into switching up what we got going on in Collision as well. Yeah. We have Elton John with the entrance music. Maybe we could hit up Papa Buck. Let them know there's an opening on Saturday nights.
Wow.
Maybe do an Elton John cover from Papa Buck. I don't know. It's not usually I'm not that big of a fan of that type of music, but Joe's been putting me on to a lot of Papa Buck's greatest hits. He's a big fan of his band, of his talent, of his vocal range, or just a whole lot of things. I'd be here all day if I told you guys the compliments that Joe gives Papa Buck.
Yeah, absolutely true. All of it was true. I don't know if you know this, but I promoted this show. This is my description of the show tonight. I said, Charlie has notes, and AO is going to say I've said things I have not said. It's going to be a great time. So we're 5 minutes in, and we've delivered on what we advertised. So it's good stuff. Charlie, what did you make of our opening here?
I thought that it was fucking hilarious, and this is like when the Bucks started these new characters, I didn't think that this is quite where we would end up, and I am so glad it is, because it's just like the perfect stuff for them, like this hokey bullshit that like walks the line of being too on the nose and going too far with it, but they're just so good at being idiots in this role, and the crowd are eating it up. Like, they got some of the loudest reactions of the night, and all they did was appear on screen. They didn't even come out to the ring until the very end. Like, but yeah, I thought it was great, and I think it should be the new Dynamite opener every week. And there's a strong chance it could be with things that happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
God bless our EVPs.
This was like actually good, but even beyond that, I was just glad they opened with an immediate like. Remember last week when the guys killed Tony Khan? You know, there have been versions of AEW that would have started with like Top Flight's music, and I don't mean that as a reflection of Top Flight, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's like
everything that was accomplished is like kind of no sold, or they might talk about it in a backstage segment for 30 seconds later, and the whole show is like removed from it.
Yeah, they've got a lot better at this. Threading throughout the show. It happened again this week. There was a segment in the middle involving the Elite. And then obviously the closing segment, which I think pretty much everyone agrees was the highlight of the whole show. So we'll get into those as we go here. But before we get into the, I guess, first live segment, it appears we have a couple of super chats, mate. Go for it.
We do. Anjan, $2 super chat. My GOAT return equals my love for this game is back. Facts. Anjan with another $2. At FTR, get a job, a different job preferably. Stay away from my GOAT. I agree. Hashtag thugs. I'm gonna hop on the Westlaw, and I'm gonna keep you guys updated on what's going on with Cash Wheeler's gun case. The fact that we just let this hardened criminal run around on television, it's a fucking travesty. It's a travesty. And Jen, another $2. Charlie's essays, Joe's Hobart House Show energy, AO's EVP vibes. Cook. Kale, 50 pesos. Mr. Hobart House Show. Happy Tiffy Time Day. Cage vs. Swerve is the perfect first feud / match.
I agree.
Yeah.
What is this? What's this Tiffy Time Day stuff?
Well, I guess it isn't today, but I guess she's working for the belt on Saturday, right? So I think there seems to be some buzz that people seem hopeful she may win the belt on Saturday. I don't think so, but that seems to be the buzz. So
from the very little WWE I consume, I think she's gonna beat Bayley. But not this Saturday. I think it would be sometime this summer.
I agree.
On us, the Sultan, $2 super chat. Kenny needs to steal Arn's Glock. Me personally.
Well, he is hanging out with Cash Wheeler, so.
If he wants a Glock, he's hanging around the right guy.
Daniel Garcia last night, he tweeted in response to the segment. It was an instinctive. I was worked up about it. I'd just seen our heroes get slaughtered like that. I said, bring a gun. There's only one way to figure this out, I'm usually a measured British man, as you all know, folks. But there's a time and a place for these things, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're just bringing the fucking knives and the machetes. Like Joe would never. His mind, like if Joe Hobart has an issue that needs to be solved, here comes the knife. Like he's never really typically thinking, here comes the gun. But he was just so disgusted by last night's actions that he just went to that.
Yeah, it shows you how extreme it was, right?
Indeed.
It happens to the best of us, folks. But we'll get to the FTR save part. I think it's fair to say I had a different reaction to you guys on that part of the segment. But sometimes it's about the hero you need, Sometimes
not the hero.
This is what it is. It is what it is. we'll get into it, I'm sure. All right. Back to Dynamite and Winnipeg, who I must say, again, immediately it was apparent this could be an issue tonight. I think it's fair to say. So it is what it is. Swerve opened the show in the building, and this is, the same as Collision, right? So, after last week's conversation, opened both the big shows after that. So that's a positive. Obviously, he again referred to the Elite's actions. They've reiterated that. Obviously, it set up what was about to happen. I don't think that's the only interaction he's going to have with the Elite, though. I think there's, doing it twice, I think that's clearly going to be a big thing over this.
Going somewhere.
Yeah, I think there may be a certain cowboy that's involved in that too. But we shall see. For now, Swerve's promo was cut off by the Elite, Matthew and Nicholas specifically, who did the deal where they set the stage for Kenny Omega, right? A Canadian, former champ, that whole deal. And of course, instead Christian Cage emerged, and he has the best entrance deal with the inspirational and all the words that flash up. Came out looking like the world's biggest arsehole, as only he can. And they went face to face, and the people reacted. There was some Christian chants. And then Christian just punched him in the face, right? And they went straight to physicality. And
that was good shit.
Prince Nana took Nick Wayne's finish and did the Devon Dudley sell. It was a whole deal. And I thought this was one of the best things on the show, honestly. This is a kind of a 1-2 punch in terms of love the direction. I thought the segment itself was great too. So I thought this was a great way to start the show, Chuck. What did you make of the first live segment of the night with Swerve and Christian Cage?
I really liked it. Firstly, because it proved that I was right, and this is the direction they're going. I love when that happens on Dynamite. But secondly, because Christian is such an ace up their sleeve in AEW, as he's one of the only real heels that they have, and they needed that for Swerve's first opponent. So he was a great choice for it. Either way, no matter what story you're telling, and they have history together. They did the coffin tag match All In and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's going to be great. Prince Nana, that bump that he took on the Waynesfold was very funny, and it made me laugh. It shouldn't have made me laugh, but it did. And I'm very excited for their face-to-face next week, where they actually do some chatting instead of just physicality. I mean, I think it was great that they went straight to the physicality and added some heat to what some people are going to consider an off-the-wall feud. But I can't wait for the promo. I think it's going to be special.
Yeah, and we did get some Christian promo afterwards, right? And he immediately went incredibly personal, as he's kind of been prone to do since becoming this character. Yeah. This is going to get really heated, I think. What did you make of this segment here?
I love this. I love the like you said, I love the direction, and I love the segment. Christian was one of the only people that immediately made sense for Double or Nothing, in my opinion. I know we kind of you guys guessed Roosh. I said Roosh could be a possibility, or I think Christian Cage makes a lot of sense. Christian, he tagged with Swerve at All In against Sting and Darby, didn't get the job done. This isn't even the first time since All In that it's been brought up. Christian said, what was it, before Wrestle Dream, I think? He basically called Swerve a dickhead and was like, bro, I don't fuck with you. You lost me the match at the biggest show in pro wrestling history. You're an asshole for that or whatever. And then he touched on it again, that they had history. And then he also has history with Nick Wayne, that Swerve broke into his garage ring school thing, and then left him bloody, broke that picture of his dad, all that shit. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. I'm excited to watch the TV for this feud. They had a segment later in the show where Swerve cut a promo saying that he was gonna bring friends next week, and people were like, "Oh, who's Swerve talking about? Who's Swerve talking about?" Probably the faction that he's the leader of, guys. I think that's what he's talking about. But yeah, I'm not sure if that means that we're gonna get a multi-man match next week, or they're gonna there's gonna be another in-ring segment where Swerve brings his gang and Christian brings his gang or whatever. But I'm excited either way. I think this feud has a lot of potential, and I'd be shocked if they don't reach it.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's the perfect guy for Swerve, even beyond any of the other stuff, which we all agree makes sense. Just Swerve as a wrestler, I think this is the perfect guy for him to be in there with right now. I think Christian, he's so good at that main event cadence, that main event pace, right? We saw it with Darby at Wrestle Dream last year. And I just think he'll actually make Swerve's job way easier. I think he'll make it even simpler for him, because he's so over already, So I'm really excited for the match. I'm intrigued. Just gut feeling. Do we think this main event's Double or Nothing, or do we think Anarchy closes again? Because Anarchy it feels like it's kind of taking shape in front of our eyes with the Elite business. So that's a tough one, right, at this point in the game. It's difficult. Certainly can close the show. We've seen Christian in main events before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Any
I'm going to assume until we're told not that this main event's the show. Another thing is I saw people saying oh, it should be Keith Lee. Keith Lee makes more sense than Christian. First of all, Christian's an actual proven main event guy in multiple companies, especially AEW, which is the most important. He's been a champ. He's actually in shape. He's actually coming to work. All right, You put Swerve versus Keith Lee on a card that has Will Ospreay versus Roddy Strong, Anarchy in the Arena, which is probably gonna have fucking Okada, the Bucks, FTR, Kenny Omega might be involved. Like, who knows what his actual health status is? Mm-hmm. And then also Mercedes Monet's debut match against Willow. Like, you're sending him out there to die. Like, you're sending him out there for people to be like, look at how they botched this guy's feud. Just because they were in a tag team a couple years ago, it's not fucking worth it.
Yeah, I don't say this to be like a dick or spiteful, but until we see otherwise, I think it's time to let the Keith Lee of yesteryear go. I think until he shows that it's still there. The last kind of little run he had on TV, he looked like a much lesser version of himself. You know, when he was working with like Joe and Brian Cage, and I mean, I know that it's been said he was hurt, so I appreciate that, but it ain't the time to be plugging him into a pay-per-view main event. There's no way. So, yeah, I agree completely. Chat's right to bring it up too. Mercedes and Willow certainly could close the show, right? Like, so
absolutely.
It's a good problem to have, right? Will Ospreay and Roddy Strong, as Aaron mentioned, is also on the show. So we'll see, but we're all very bullish on Christian and Swerve nonetheless. All right, things we are less bullish on. The opening match.
Oh my
Adam
God.
Copeland, the Cope Open against... This was... Okay, firstly, before we get to the match, how weird was this whole deal where they like kind of said it was Buddy accidentally, and then they said it wasn't, and it could have been against anyone, and then they did this really weird like Malachi promo over the top of it, and Cope had to sell it with his face. And
House
then
of
Malachi,
Black Lord in Big 2024, bro.
I actually think this is like forgetting the match itself, which we'll get to, and has a lot of issues, but the pre and post match Malachi stuff, I think, is like some of the most goofy shit he's done in AEW. Genuinely,
it's wrestle crap. It's straight up wrestle crap.
He did like an evil chuckle and shit. It was so. Anyway, they do all of this, and then they had a match that was totally at odds with what like they had this like sort of house show main event 20-minute match. And look, I don't want to be dramatic about the match's quality because I'm a fan of Buddy Matthews, that's established, and I think Cope's been great in AEW. But I thought they just wrestled the wrong match entirely here. I mean, I'll get into it in more detail, but I don't want to take away everyone's talking points. Chuck, what did you think of Cope and Buddy?
This AEW habit of doing these 15-minute plus matches, like in the opening segments, it wasn't even the opening segment. You had already gone through the first quarter of an hour. What was you trying to hit here? Like, who were you trying to hold? Like, you've already had that first quarter hour drop off. They could have wrestled a sub 10-minute match here that would have been much better than what we got, because it was brutal. Like, there was like flashes of stuff that I enjoyed, and then Bud Matt did that injury angle, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm being worked or not. And I'd like, because he was genuinely spitting up blood, and I have no idea how legit that was. Like, I haven't seen any reports on it, so I don't know. I didn't enjoy it. I thought that it was very slow, and the only good thing that happened was like 2 moves in the closing stretch.
Well, it felt to me like they had this match in mind, and they put it together expecting the place to be rocking. And to say it wasn't rocking would be, I mean, they were
was the place even awake? Like,
bro, and even if it was a hot crowd, that's stupid. House of Black, they don't get booed. But the people who are in House of Black, which isn't a whole lot of people, right? But the people who are into House of Black, they like them because they think they're cool. Like, the people that are interested in anything they got going on, they like House of Black, they think they're cool, they're not booing them. And then everybody else is just like, I don't hate these guys to boo them. I don't even care about them. They just sit on their fucking hands or look at their phones, bro. Like, nobody's booing fucking a Buddy Matthews headlock 10 minutes into a 20-minute fucking snooze fest, bro. Like, we're just gonna look at you and like fall asleep. It's so bad. That was so bad last night, bro. That was like Cope's first miss, well, since coming to AEW, I think. You can argue the Penta match, right? But at least they finally like got to the cool shit and kind of kept to the pace into the finish. Like, here, like they were like, people would be sleeping for 10 minutes, and then they do a moves exchange, and then they'd start cheering. You'd hear an AEW chant or two, and then Buddy Matthews slaps on another fucking headlock or puts him in a crossface. I was like, why are you wrestling like this, bro? Like, this is the first match of AEW Dynamite. This is in fucking 9-10 on Punk's Collision, bro. Like, it's not what we're doing here.
So, again, we've all talked about the length because that is important here. It's just a fundamental issue. These two guys do not need to be going 21 minutes. They just don't. And especially, this isn't a pay-per-view match. This is clearly a block, like a step on the road to Malachi, which is a match that already I have concerns about without doing this for 21 minutes. The House of Black are messing with our friend Ayo's internet slightly, folks. We apologize.
Did I? Am I back?
You've mostly been there. A couple of times you broke up, and it was when you were talking critically of the House of Black. So I think we may be
fucking Malachi cursing you over here and shit.
I think that's what's happening. But you mentioned the injury thing, Chuck. So this is saying that Buddy goes to quite a lot, and I understand it pops him, and it's popped me at times. But here, they went so far with it. They like semi-turned Buddy into like the baby face in the match.
Yeah, it was a weird dynamic.
And AO just laid out perfectly. The people already kind of like the House of Black, those that care about them. So by the end of it, there were like faint Buddy chants. And then afterwards, they kind of booed when Copeland got a chair. And to me, it was just one of those, again, I like Buddy's work a lot. And I think Copeland's been great at AEW. This to me was just, they just completely misread this situation. They wrestled the wrong match, and frankly, not only was it the wrong match, I think it was a pretty bad match too. The pace was so uneven here. This just didn't come together. It didn't look like a natural matchup to me on paper, to be honest. But I think if they go 10, 12 minutes, they're totally fine. I just think this is a complete misread. I will say I wasn't a big fan of the Penta match, but I do think you're right to point out that worked much more for the house than this did. So it was a shame, and especially as the Dynamite opener, it kind of, in some ways, halted the momentum of the show, right? So, a bit of a bummer in our first match.
I completely forgot until you mentioned it that they did like the classic Edge morality crisis gimmick in the fucking concerto spot, and I'm like, oh, that's like when Edge. That's like some of the worst shit that Edge like puts out. Like when he does this, am I evil? Am I good? Am I? That's Edge at his very worst, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, you could tell by the reaction to the double lights out after. They did the lights on Malachi was there, and they came back on, then off again, and then they were both gone. And it didn't. I mean, the crowd were just amused at that point, right?
Yeah.
Really rough block of TV, I thought, and if indeed it's on the pay-per-view, to say that these fellas need to have their working boots is an understatement because we just run down that card. If Malachi Black and Adam Copeland's on that pay-per-view, they need to bring it. They cannot go 20 minutes on that show.
That should not be on the pay-per-view.
So, this was really none of this was for me, unfortunately. Didn't work for me. But, folks, tell us what you think. You can send in super chats throughout the night. Please do like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Meanwhile, up next, I think we went straight to it, right? My notes suggest so. Apologize if I forgotten something, folks. But I believe the big man was back. Samoa Joe back. I was kind of surprised by this graphic being dropped on like Tuesday night. I wasn't sure with Joe for a while. He's back in the building. Isaiah Cassidy, who is so good at this role that I almost worry it's going to be the role he stays in because he's so good. I hope it isn't because he's very, very talented. But he is tremendous at these deals. So he was the victim, unfortunately, of the Samoa Joe comeback win. He took a disgusting bump to the floor along the way. Joe gave him a little bit, and he had like a little comedy deal, and kind of the people loved this, by the way. It should be noted that about the crowd, they absolutely love this. So there's that, I guess. No angle for Joe coming out of it, but a nice return to action nonetheless. What did you make of Samoa Joe, Isaiah?
I was surprised when this graphic drops because usually when like a big star in AEW takes a big loss, they get like a month off at least. Yep. And then we also keep hearing about like Joe's gonna go away to film season 2 of whatever the name of that show that he has going on Peacock. So I assumed that we were gonna see Joe for a while, and they dropped the graphic and it was with Isaiah Cassidy. I was excited. I like Zay a lot. I think he's a really talented young guy on the roster, and Joe's obviously fucking Joe. They went out there, the crowd woke up. I was like, oh, maybe the crowd wasn't that bad. And for some reason, they just like aren't that interested, like the only crowd in America that's not that interested in Christian. And then like fucking Edge and fucking Buddy just put him to sleep or whatever with that fucking snooze fest. But no, it was very much it was like very much like a 1 or 2 time thing. But it was a well worked match. I liked that Isaiah got a lot more in this match than he did in the Keith Lee match to show like his progression. He's not like the same, just like absolute jabroni, but they wanted to make sure it's clear that he's like nowhere near Joe's level when it comes like the roster power scaling and stuff. But he's definitely taking some strides. That tope Kangaroo he took to the outside of the ring. I don't know why he did that, bro. Like
you just know it was his idea as well. Like
he probably I don't know why he did that. That was an insane bump. He has that acai moonsault that he could hit.
Yeah.
And he could have like landed on his feet kind of and just like rolled back. But it's just like, no, bro. I'm gonna take a flat bump to the fucking floor. Hey man, shout out to him for doing it, bro. It's gonna help him get more over, but that was an insane spot. Joe with the clean win. 1, 2, 3, no promo, no angle, got out of there. It was a good thing on the show. I wonder what plans they have for Joe, if they're going to keep him in the mix. Maybe he does do something at Double or Nothing. I don't know what he would possibly do, but it's Joe, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I want to kind of kick that around a little more in a second. And Isaiah Cassidy had a post-match promo on Twitter that I want to quickly discuss. But first, Chuck, what did you make of the kind of extended squash we had here?
I don't have anything more really to add because you guys have kind of covered it. I think that Zay was so good in this role and he deserves the TV time, man. He has proved over and over again that he's just made the moves to get better in AEW. And even with like all the injury issues that him and Quen have had and the stop-starts that they've experienced, like Zay's already having like a pretty good 2024 considering his position on the cards. So I'm happy for him, man. And that bump to the outside is probably going to do the rounds for like the next 6 months. So he's getting something out of that, I guess. If not a fucking backache, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was brutal. What do we think? Joe Double or Nothing, like, is there anything that's kind of that you can see? Because I was kind of pondering. I was desperate for an angle last night just because I don't know. You know, like, what? Maybe this is it. Maybe he just came out into the squash and he'll be going soon. I don't know.
They wouldn't bring Joe back to let Mark get his win back, would they?
I think they absolutely should have that match at some point. Yeah.
Would they save that for a Ring of Honor pay-per-view though?
I've said this before, and obviously I'm biased, so fair, but I've said it before. I think that should be Wembley. Because I think Mark should Mark work in Wembley, and you could do a lot with like the Ring of Honor belt at Wembley State. You know, like you could do something with that, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting one. Also because Joe is like, he's kind of a baby face if we're being real, right? Like,
yeah.
He's getting cheering. So, I don't know.
There's potential that he's just going to have these random TV matches for a while, and both Team Elite and Team AEW are going to try and recruit him, and he's just not going to give a fuck. I think that's probably what they might be into.
You should book All Elite Wrestling because I think that would be fucking awesome. Can you imagine how fun those segments would be?
That'd be incredible. Like Matthew Jackson going to ask Samoa Joe, would you like to come wrestle for us? He'd be like, no.
But that's great. That's totally what they
He could wrestle. Yeah. He could wrestle Nicholas Jackson in a singles match. I think they should book
There you go. That's see, there you veered into let me just pop myself, which is every booker should do. So I respect that. But that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. Anything come to mind other than the couple of suggestions we just run through? It's tough, right? Not an obvious answer. Difficult.
I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult to put him in that Anarchy in the Arena match.
Let's do it.
I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult. But other than that, no, not really.
Remember when Joe was doing one of the angles with the devil? He came out with his fist taped, and he had like jeans.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
If we get that in Anarchy, we may be fully back. I think. But yeah,
they need to get more people like involved like off to the sides with this feud, because I need Jack Perry to beat Copeland for the belt at Double or Nothing, so he can't be in Anarchy the Arena. So they need other people.
Oh, is that the new vision? Jack taking it
unfortunately, yeah, and then Garcia winning All In is my idea. We'll see what happens.
So many ideas. It's just
constantly.
It's tremendous. It's tremendous. Now, in terms of booking ideas, and if you guys haven't got anything on this, I'll just do a quick solo and we'll move on. I don't want to spend too much time with it. I don't want to be dramatic. But I saw that Isaiah Cassidy promo on Twitter. And before I go any further, folks, injuries have been a real issue for Private Party, and they've been a real victim of circumstance. It's been tough. They haven't had many chances to build momentum. But it really struck me as I watched it, like how little I've seen them have a chance to do anything like that before. You know, like I watched that promo and I thought, well, that's the first like wrestling promo I can remember Isaiah. They have a lot of personality, right? Yeah. But like, it was like grounded, and he even tweeted as much, I think. And
he said something like, "This is my first time speaking from the heart," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was very much in the mold of, a lot of people have mentioned it was very much in the mold of what Garcia was doing in the Continental Classic. I really hope it's not just him doing something to keep himself, active, and they actually have an idea. Because you have to, like, again, I'm not trying to be over the top here, but seriously, you have to be careful with that stuff when there's no follow-up, right? Because you don't want to do the 2010s WWE thing where the guys are cutting great promos on Twitter and they never go anywhere. That's like the worst place you can be as a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
I say this to say, I think Isaiah has got a lot better. And I hope they have like some kind of idea, because, he's been in this spot for a long time and he's had a lot of bad luck, and Quen's been injured a lot, and it's been brutal, man. I feel bad for them. But we've talked about like a Private Party push for so long now, right? It would be great if next week's TV there was a segment about this, like Isaiah try to get serious. So I don't know if you guys have anything on that, but I've always worth noting, because I thought it was a great promo on Twitter, so I wanted to shout out. I don't know, anything on maybe the next step for Private Party before we move on here.
I think building them up away from the tag belts is the move, and they should eventually beat the Young Bucks. After the Bucks have a lengthy reign as like our evil EVP overlords and shit. But like, I don't like, you look at the rest of the tag division, and it's definitely coming back along. We have the Machine Guns presumably coming back in, but I think it's time to start turning to these other guys and like throwing them in the fire and shit. Like they gave it a shot with the Guns, and I think even the Guns' biggest fans would tell you it's probably too early for that. But like, we know Private Party can have the matches. It's just a matter of staying healthy for them and doing like actual like wrestling segments like Isaiah cut on Twitter last night, as opposed to we all love Private Party. I fucking love Private Party, but like they go out there, it's shots, they're humping the air, everybody's having fun and shit. But it's kind of hard to tell a story when that's all the fans know about them. Right. So like them like developing these characters and shit is good to see. Hopefully it does go somewhere.
Yeah, again, it's a small thing, folks, but I just think sometimes it's worth circling these deals. We're going to chuck you in on a Private Party push. You into that as an idea? I know we talked about it before, right?
I am. I think the Private Party, honestly, like, we talk about them a lot, but I think they are pretty underrated when it comes to like who has potential as young guys in AEW, and a lot of that is because of like the injury stuff and the stop-start that we've talked about. But I think they should lean into this. They should start wrestling like up the card in that. And honestly, if you're having GYV come back, do that match, because I think that could be quite an interesting match for Private Party to wrestle, because of, other than like FTR, what's a team like GYV that they've ever wrestled, really? There's not really anyone on the roster, so it'd push them out their comfort zone. It'd have them wrestling people who are world renowned and have wrestled everywhere, which is what they need like in this next stage of their careers. So I think that they should be GYV's next AEW opponents. And I think that they should start picking up some wins against some lower level teams as well. I'm not sure who that is in AEW because of it leaves my brain, but yeah, I just want to see him wrestling on TV more as well. Like, less of this stop start stuff. Yeah,
and again, we're all aware there's been 101 circumstances in their example, right? But it is important, I think, to do some real pushes at points. And it may not be Private Party that gets that push. It may be Top Flight, right, that breaks out of being like the TV losers. Yeah, but like, we just need guys climbing the ladder, right? It helps, I think, as fans to see the roster change. But
like, at least start giving them wins over like teams like the fucking Outrunners and Dark Order and fucking the Righteous and shit like that. Give them wins against them on Collision, bro. So the fans are used to like seeing Private Party or even Top Flights like winning matches.
Yeah. You can go back to that feud. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I think we have a couple of super chats, mate. So take it away.
We do. Uzora Hart, $5 super chat. We appreciate you. That man got a fresh start at a new company and purposely decided to continue calling himself Buddy. Fraud. Need him to hit the bricks immediately. Well, the thing with him is like he was a guy that thought he was going back to WWE from day one. Was signed with AEW, so like he kept the same shit going on with his name. You know, he hovered around Malachi because that's what the WWE fans know about him. It's just like didn't really help him too much to get over.
I do think he's been good on Collision a couple of times, and I know that's like my bit to be but like, I do think some of those matches he was very good in.
There was a couple of Collision matches that it was definitely like, yo, is 205 Buddy Matthews back? Like, is he back? Is he back?
Yeah, like the Garcia match, I remember thinking was
that was great.
The Andrade match as well.
Yeah. I don't know. There was a tag with Malachi where I thought like respectfully it felt like he was doing, you know, he was like in a handicap match. Like, I don't know. I think he's been good, but I get he's not for everyone. And there's like he is also called Buddy. So we'll proceed.
This is true.
WrestlePurists' own Caden Lee of the Performance Center, $2 super chat. Perry should beat Cope in LA the episode after Double or Nothing. I don't hate it, but
I don't hate it.
These heels getting these big hometown wins. I don't know. I don't necessarily love that either.
I think it's much better to play into the fact that they're coming back to LA with the Bucks and Jack Perry having gold because they're the California boys. Like they're the dickhead
California boys running back to their hometown and shit. Reigning supreme over AEW. They got all the belts and shit.
And then you do the turn on Christian there, like because if he's probably going to lose. He is going to lose to Swerve at Double or Nothing. Like you kick him out of like the associates group. Like there's so much here. Like I don't hate the idea, but I also don't think they should do that.
Chuck, you need like a whiteboard behind
you. I've got a blank wall. Like give me a few days. I'll set something up.
Okay.
Next week there is going to be fucking strings and pictures and notes all up there. I'll commit to the bit. Send a big enough super chat and I'll commit to the bit.
Please keep the super chats coming, y'all. We appreciate them.
Yes, and like the videos. You know that stuff by now, folks. But do all that stuff. Yes, be very generous with the super chats if you're feeling up to it. If you have a hot take for the name Buddy, now's the time, folks. Now is the time. All right. We had a Sky Blue promo. Willow had one later in response to Sky. This was all just to set the stage for the eventual main event of the 3-hour block, which we'll talk about that match, right? Because that match actually I think is worth discussing. The other two matches on Rampage are like the definition of solid pros. Like they're good wrestling matches, but they were wrestling in an empty arena, I think. So we'll discuss it. But Sky she's still she's proceeding with this kind of character arc. She's got better as a promo. She's got a ways to go on that front, but she's got better, and this was her little brief pre-tape here. All right. Live segment up next. Best friends, right? We had this whole deal. Orange Cassidy came out. And unless I've missed it, this whole thing has gone completely under the radar as far as I've seen today. Orange claimed that Chuck was done and would never wrestle again.
And like, what's that about?
What?
Okay, so it isn't just me. It feels like no one's talked about this today. And it feels like, I mean, I'm sure obviously it could just be an angle, but like, it kind of scared me. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it might be,
bro, because Chuck Taylor's been out with like an ankle injury, or whatever the fuck he had been going on. Came back for a match, but it was a closed set match. Like they didn't put them in the ring, but luckily it made sense because they've had two of those parking lot brawl matches together. So if they're gonna like blow up as a tag team, I can see why they do that. But maybe they did it to protect his fucking ankle as well. I don't know, bro. Like, can he go anymore? And like nobody's like the sheets aren't like, yo, we're gonna look into this. I know we should probably look into it as WrestlePurists, but like even the fans like talking about the clip, like the clips didn't get that much engagement and shit. And it's weird, bro, because Chuck Taylor, people love the best friends. So like if it's over, like I feel like it's kind of weird how nobody gives a fuck.
The only person I've seen really tweeted about it is Alexia. Like, she was genuinely heartbroken last night. And, like, my entire timeline this morning was just, like, 7-hour-old tweets of Lexi, like, having a breakdown. But she's the only person I've seen, like, genuinely, like, trying to find out what the fuck's gone on. Like, is Chuck okay? That is the question of this segment.
Obviously, we all wish him well. It's just the reason it kind of laid it out perfectly. Like I took it kind of seriously because of how little we've seen him wrestle as of late. So we wish him well. Trent then came out, and then we had this Don Callis business here.
Yes.
What's that about?
Now, on Saturday,
I have a theory.
We saw that Don was watching the backstage, the parking lot brawl.
Mm-hmm.
And here he was again. But on the other side of the equation, this was weird. Chuck, you have a theory, you say. You normally do, so I'm thankful for that. I think if it was just AO and I tonight, we'd go, I don't know. Move on. So you have a theory. Go for it.
Forbidden Door 2022. Orange Cassidy wrestled Will Ospreay. And in the build to that, Best Friends and United Empire were feuding. Ospreay's currently got tension with the Don Callis family. So how's he going to react to Don Callis trying to bring in someone that was one of his first feuds in AEW? Someone that like we haven't seen OC on like him on screen with at this point in his AEW run. So it also could just be a swerve, and it's going to end up being a thing of Don Callis is going to end up with Trent Beretta, but he wants us to think that he's more interested in Orange Cassidy, like to bring more tension. But
that's
I think there is
meeting with it right now.
Yeah, I think there is something to the idea of him trying to bring in someone that Ospreay's had issues with in the past and wrestled in the past in AEW, and it's going to play more into that angle as well.
You said you're with the Trent theory, right?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I think the whole thing's like just leading towards a swerve.
Oh, it's like a red herring. Yeah.
Like he's gonna try to bring OC close, and then Trent just fucking attacks him, and Trent's just like, just kidding. I'm the Don Callis family now, guys, because they're short Hobbs, so like they need another guy in there anyway. And I don't know, I have a hard time because Trent's gone past the point of no return, right? With going back to babyface, like he's done some evil shit or whatever in the eyes of the fans. Yeah, Chris Stat acting like she's leaning heel and stuff. So would Orange Cassidy also turning heel too? It just I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah. So I think they're just gonna go with Trent.
You gotta be delicate with like how you portray this Orange and Don thing, because like the character Orange Cassidy should be like totally unmoved by the idea of Don Callis being his manager, right? Like I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. I agree. I think Trent will end up in the group, and I actually think that's the correct role for Trent as a heel is the work rate guy in a heel faction. I think that's the right call. Especially if Fletcher is going to end up on Ospreay's side as a babyface. He would basically be what Fletcher has been recently, right? So I think that makes sense. This was just an interesting step. I'm glad you brought up Chris. I should have, because Chris is still kind of circling that turn, right? It's kind of looming over.
Did you see the Twitter promo that they dropped last night?
I did not, no.
I didn't see this one.
So they basically pulled, somebody just did this too in a title run. I forget who, and it's going to be obvious once I say it. But they were basically doing that thing where it's just like volunteering Willow for a match after match and after match, and they're doing like a Willow Open thing. It was like, oh, Willow will fight anybody at any time. You know, call your shot. Willow will fight you. She doesn't care. Willow will do this. Willow will do that. Willow will do that. And they were leaning heel, and Stokely was like insulting Willow, kind of called her a fucking like Teletubby and shit, but like try to fake like it was endearing. So it was like it was oh yeah, this is who it was. It was Christian and Jack. I think someone else too, but I don't fucking remember. But yeah, so they're definitely building up to the whole Stat eventually turns on Willow for a title shot thing.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. The big thing for that, we talked about a little last week, is how that overlaps with the Mercedes match, right? Like, are they connected, or is that a different thing altogether? Is Willow going to move into a Chris feud afterwards? Time will tell, folks. Very intriguing.
I think that the Willow promo segment last night has made it kind of unfortunately. I think the Willow, like what happened in Willow's promo segment, has made it kind of clear that the Chris stuff is going to come after, because of the Mercedes stuff is leaning into the elite stuff, it seems. But we'll talk about that when it gets there. So
yes. In fact, let's go there now, because I can't remember where that was at in the show, and that's saying that's a good point. So I hadn't considered this to the whole house show, and it's brought up in the chat. So Willow's promo segment was interrupted. and the Elite had a message for Renee. And then in that message, after telling Renee to smile more, which I do like that bit, they had booked Willow into a more extreme match, basically, right? Yes. And like, it could just be they're now running the show and this is what they want as the main event, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or there have been some theories, and I only just learned this about an hour ago, but basically, Chuck, the idea would be that, you know, they're softening Willow up for Mercedes, maybe, right? Like, and Mercedes could be part of the Elite. So CEO, EVPs, where are you at? What's the percentage of confidence on this particular theory?
I'm like 80% sure this is the angle they're going for, because they could have chosen any backstage promo to have Elite like involvement in, and they chose the biggest women's match that's going to be on Double or Nothing. Like they chose that match specifically. They chose something involving Mercedes, and I think we've got to look to see if this continues next week, to see if it happens again, if anything else like this keeps cropping up. But I think there is a very high chance that Mercedes is going to be associated with the Elite and with the VPs, and it could be very, very funny. I think it could be fucking comedy.
Well, you say associated because there's two ways there, right? Like, she could just be in the faction, or it could be a thing of like they're business partners. You know? Like
I think that's the angle they're gonna go with, because I think that's how it's gonna be with like the Don Callis family and the Elite as well. I think they're gonna be business partners, because the Elite's just gonna stay the Elite. It's just gonna say the four that they are. So they're just gonna have associates that they do business with to run Dynamite, and I think it's gonna be very funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's this whole thing is going to be a real test of, like we talked about last week, that balance between getting heat, which is such an important ingredient in pro wrestling, but not getting so much there overwhelms the whole show, right? Like this week they had to get a lot of heat. You couldn't have them get their ass kicked this week. It was the second week of the angle. But it's such a hard thing. You know, I mentioned NWO last time out because it's the immediate comparison you go to when you talk about these things, right? So we'll see if they can walk that fine line. But I do like the idea of Mercedes being linked to them. I think that makes a lot of sense. So we shall see.
I feel confident that this is going to go well, because the Bucks in particular, like when it's time for them to get their comeuppance, like they've been good. They get it. Like they're not scared of getting like embarrassed for the sake of like they'll get embarrassed for the babyface to get their fucking time in the spotlight and all that shit. So I think though when it's time to close up this angle, they'll do it. But there's a lot of juice here. I wouldn't mind them going for a fucking year.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't rush. Again, it's hard, right? Because you do need to get heat on them. Like that's really important, because when an Eddie Kingston or a Daniel Garcia or whoever, a Shad Khan, gets their hands on them, that should be a big deal.
You want it to be impactful,
yeah, it has to matter. So
that's fucking Lucha Bros winning the titles was so fucking cool because the Bucks have beaten everybody, bro, including the Lucha Bros already. So it was like, then for that full circle moment, it was really cool. Unfortunately, their run was fucking botched, but
that was
a cage match.
That was one of the best matches in AEW history. But you're right to point out that part of it, because it's one of the best moments, right? Like I will always remember afterwards when Penta remember when he had his daughter come over and Penta was
covered in fucking blood.
And Alex was yelling, like, because they needed to get back because, you know, they had another 10 matches to get to or whatever. And Penta was like, I don't give a fuck what else we're doing on this show. I'm waiting for my daughter to come up to celebrate this time. I have had my issues with Penta over the last couple of years, but he will always have that moment. I think that's like one of the most magical moments in AEW history. But anyway, speaking of the Elite, they had a promo up next, and this was that middle segment we were talking about, right? Like that kind of tying the first and the last segment together. But really, this was a chance for Jack to get some promo time, right? And he kind of focused in on Tony Khan. And there has been much conversation about Jack Perry's promo improvement. And like, I think some of it is a little extreme, but I also think some of the criticism before was extreme, to be honest with you. Like, I think he's better, and more than anything being better, it's like he actually has something to talk about now, rather than like I'm mad at Hook for some reason, you know? So I think he's doing better. He looks more confident. He's making the most of it. I thought this was a good promo from Jack. What did you make of it? Oh my god, have we lost AO?
Oh no.
Okay, Malachi Black.
He was speechless.
It was so great. He can't even speak to its quality. Okay, while we wait for Graf and Chuck, go for it.
Goodness.
Oh my god.
Okay. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
What did you think of Jack Perry's promo?
I loved it, bro. I think he's improved leaps and fucking bounds. Bro, like I'll just tell you guys what happened. My internet like shit itself for a second, so I refreshed the tab, it didn't work, so I closed out the fucking tab, and I joined with a new one, and it's still saying like my clone is in here, bro. I don't know what's going on. And I put the clone backstage, and it's just sitting there, and it just fucking like removed itself. I don't know. Real weird. Anyway, Jack Perry, he's improved leaps and bounds to this promo shit, bro. I'm enjoying his work a lot. I'm cautiously optimistic until he goes out there in front of a crowd with a mic in his hand and knocks it out the park. But look, man, I'm just gonna say it. Jack Perry best on mic 2024. I think that is a conservative estimation of where his current ability is. Yep. You feel me? The big skateboard go, just a promo guy now, bro. Like Monty used to love to come fucking good little work or whatever. Nah, Monty, we cut promos too now, nigga.
Well, Charlie, if you can, please follow that to the best of your abilities. What do you think of the promo?
I don't think I can. I like this segment a lot. I really think this speaks to the point that Ospreay made on Swerve's pod recently, that New Japan having you cut promos after every match, it gets you to improve. And the excursion really did do Jack a lot of good when it comes to that and figuring out how to work heel, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed this segment. I am excited to see what his role actually is, because of he keeps talking all this shit about Tony Khan, but we don't really know what he's doing going into this pay-per-view yet. I have my theories that it's going to be the Copeland match. Could be something completely different. We don't actually know yet.
The chat points out his Twitter promo I actually think was even better than this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That one was a noticeable difference to me. So he's doing well. He's doing a good job with this. And again, we talked about earlier with terms of pushes. Creative's huge. He has something to actually sink his teeth into. So I'm glad he's making the most of it, and he's part of this big angle. So good stuff from Jack Perry. Al, I believe we have a couple of super chats, mate.
We do. And Jen, $2 super chat. We appreciate you. Reseda and Aichi is greater than Carolinas in Chicago. Many people are saying this, bro. Many people are saying this. This is a hot topic, not just in wrestling circles.
Yeah. It's on the news a lot right now, that comparison, right?
You can't go to the lunchroom at fucking work without people talking about the Reseda and Aichi is better than Carolinas and Chicago debate, bro. It's crazy. I think it's gonna be in the presidential debates. You know what side Trump is on. Mustafa Sadiq. £5 super chat. Jack is a great example that excursions work. Facts. And I think a lot of the young tag teams aren't ready and need an excursion. I agree. Big fan of Top Flight, bro. I think they need to take the ass to Arena Mexico. I think they need to. I think a couple months in Mexico would do them a world of great, bro. There's a bunch of people that can use Japanese excursion as well.
Yeah, it's great. You can get into a rhythm of I go to TV and sit and watch the show. You know, it's you want to just get out there and wrestle. I agree completely, and the promo part of it too. So, yeah, I agree completely. I also think it'd be nice to have a US partner of some kind, but it's so hard right now. Who would that possibly be?
Right.
Yeah.
I know they kind of flirted with something with Defy, right? For a minute. Remember that was a...
Yeah, and it didn't turn into anything, bro.
No.
It was the AEW guys that are used to working Defy kept working Defy. That was really it.
Well, now Defy are linked to Progress, so tread carefully with
they're doing great.
Do you want to?
I didn't have time because I was actually I had to actually get work done today. But I saw Andy from Progress posted a fucking spreadsheet about how he's $500,000 in the hole or something like that. What the fuck was that about? I didn't have time to read it.
Buddy,
Look,
I've been sent this tweet 7 times today.
I don't know what's going on. I don't work there. I would like serious evidence as to how that is possible, because I read the same thing, looked at it. I've seen the wrestling cards they're booking, bro. There ain't no way John Gresham's that expensive, or whoever they're bringing in now. I mean, who do they even fly in anymore?
They've got Shelton Benjamin coming over.
Yeah, they got Shelton coming in, but it's just like...
Yeah, but like Shelton, I mean, I'm sure he's like not cheap, but it's one guy. It's not like they're doing like fucking all-star cards, I
don't get... I go to these shows. I actively go to these shows.
Yes.
I get drunk and heckle in the crowd. It's great fun. But there is not talent on here that warrant this sort of...
No.
Like, even when they were in America, there isn't. Like,
yeah.
I'm looking at their recent matches, and some of the Americans that they've had on most recently are Bussy, Ali Catch, and Effie, Cody Chun, who's like a Pacific Northwest guy, Ringo Loco, and Marcus Mathers, which is like a rookie.
Homicide was on the most recent show.
Mustafa Ali was in January.
That might have put him in debt. We've seen his gimmick.
Yeah.
And like fucking Francisco Akira, like they're not like booking Americans every week.
Like, the reason I mentioned Gresham was they haven't booked him for a while, but if you remember, Chuck, he was like the face of the reboot.
He was.
This blew my mind. So before I go any further, I like Jonathan Gresham. I think he's a really good wrestler. But he was like the big. I understand and that's fine, but we can agree on
this. No, Gresham's talented. It's just he has an unfortunate mind.
He was like the all-star rep of like the reboot. He was like the top guy on all the shows, and he's never been on TV here. Like sometimes people in wrestling do things, and it amazes me. If I was that deep in doubt, I'd like to at least run some good shows occasionally.
I just don't know how they spent that much. Exactly. Let alone fucking you assume they're bringing some money in to offset this, but
I mean,
I don't get it. I don't know.
The ticket prices these days, fuck me, they are expensive.
Exactly,
it's like ridiculous. They've priced out this is a genuine issue they're having. Like, I've talked to people that used to go to shows. They've priced so many people out of these shows because they're running so frequently at such high prices. Like, it's 40 quid to even get in the door these days. You used to be able to get in for 20. Like, it's crazy.
And the shows have got less buzz than ever. And
like Super Strong Style 16 is like the biggest tournament they do every year, and it's like they've got like 2 cool names in it. Like, consider depending on your taste. Like, it's like
it's weird. I don't know. Probably another podcast for another day, but it amazed me when I saw that today. I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
There's other stuff that I can't say live, but
of course. Meanwhile, Chris Jericho versus Katsuyori Shibata, and folks, I'm going to say sorry to report, but actually I have to watch and review it regardless. So I'm actually happy. So I thought this was actually fun. I enjoyed this. They had a plunder, whole shit, like a chop exchange war. It was definitely too long, but I thought it was enjoyable. And luckily, because they're in Winnipeg, we didn't have the go away heat deal either, right? Like, the people actually were having fun with this. And again, for what it was, I enjoyed this. Was it a classic? No, but I thought it was fun for what it was. Chuck, did you have fun with this, or did you think it sucked?
I think that the people in the arena had fun with it, and I was glad that there was noise in the arena for this. I just have my opinion on Jericho these days is that I actively don't want to see you. So they could put him in the ring with my favorite wrestlers of all time, and I'm not sure I would really be moved by it. But for what it was decent TV at least. That's more than you can say for his segments recently. So it was alright.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. Where did you stand on this one?
Unfortunately, it was a fun match. That marks 2 weeks in a row that Jericho has not gone out there and shit down his leg, which is unfortunate because if he keeps this up, right, he's just gonna be like, you fucking marks, you guys think you're so smart. All that terrible content I was doing for months and months and months, it was leading up to this. No, it wasn't, bro. No, it wasn't. It wasn't leading up to this. Jericho still 100% has go away heat with me, but him having a fun match last night, I would have enjoyed it more if we didn't already suffer through the 21 minutes of Cope and Buddy, right? So I was already in a bad mood, and we kind of just like went right into this. I was like, I don't want to fucking see this shit. And then I started giving it a chance. And then when I did give it a chance, I was like, okay, this is enjoyable. And then it just went on for too long. So, but it was cool. Like, it was nothing, like, it was fine.
Yeah. I definitely think some of these times, and on Saturday we saw this, I think the 3-hour block affects the matches, the length of the matches, in ways that this sounds dumb in that, like, I didn't see it coming, but to me, because in my brain they're two different blocks of TV, you know, it shouldn't, but it definitely does, right? Like, it happened on both Saturday and last night. So this is when it stood out to me, because I could have just accepted the Cope thing as just being Cope, you know, Cope being Cope. But this was like 15. And look, folks, none of us are asking for this show to be SmackDown and have 20 minutes of wrestling. That's not what we want from Dynamite.
Yeah, no,
like,
not at all. Not at all.
A Chris Jericho plunder match is actually helped by being 10 rather than 15. It's better that way, you know? So that's the thing. I still had fun with it. Big Bill was the finish of the match. There was a promo later that kind of indicated to me, at least, that Bill might be like kind of playing Chris. I don't know. Maybe I'm being just hopeful,
it was very on the nose. Can we talk about the fact that Chris Jericho came out wearing trunks?
That was crazy.
Well, I wasn't.
Why did he do that?
It was fucking wild. And he has the learning tree on the back of them, and I was like,
that was crazy.
I was genuinely baffled.
I gotta be honest. I thought it was kind of beast. I gotta be honest. He came out with trunks and he had this new jacket and he was grinning.
Look, man, if none of us are gonna have fun with it, at least Chris Jericho's having fun with it. At least someone's having fun out there, bro.
He hit a lion salt in the first couple of minutes of this match.
Oh my god, that was fucking terrible.
And they like banged knees, and Excalibur was like, "Oh my god, his legs!"
Bro, it's literally knee to knee with Shibata. I was like, "Oh my god, poor Shibata, bro, he might never walk again." And the worst part is they like moved to like the perfect camera angle to see how badly botched the lion salt was and how bad they knocked knees with each other.
I struggle with the Jericho stuff in that I have the same go at he, but there is a part of me, and it's not a part of myself that I like, but there is a part of me that's like, it's so shameless that like when he pulls it off, I have like a sort of a regretful acknowledgement of it, you know, like look at this fucking dude out there with his trunks and his new jacket, the learning tree, Chris Jericho. It's wild. It's wild. Let's be real, we're just getting started too, right? We're just getting started.
We're in for 9 months.
Culminate in like 8 months. Like.
Yeah. He hasn't even got into the big feuds yet. It's going to be a ride.
We'll talk about how this needs to end at fucking Full Gear.
100%, yeah. On a 4-hour pay-per-view preview show.
Jesus Christ.
It's probably going to end up feuding with like Jay White or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Jay White refused to join the learning tree.
Oh, dear. All right. We had a wrestling match after this. We had Brian Cage and Claudio Castagnoli. This was a nice wrestling match.
Yeah.
I think there's like a version of this match that's like an indie main event where they go fucking insane and do like every cool move imaginable.
Yeah.
This was like the adult version, which is kind of lame, you know? Like
I feel like this card would have been helped if they went out there.
It would have been helped with some indie
super indie main with a million kickouts, and they're doing like a bunch of ridiculous moves, all the fucking moves they know.
There are a couple of guys on this show that wrestled like mature adults, and that's not what their role should be in this promo. I don't want to see Brian Cage just having a steady match. I mean, it was fine, but like,
bro,
he came out in a cage. What are you doing?
Okay, so I'm glad it's not just me because I thought it was like pretty good.
No, yeah, I did like the match. It was just like,
yeah, they
didn't go completely ridiculous with it, which I feel like they should have.
It was kind of tame.
I've
watched
a Brian Cage Bandito match. I've seen this shit he can do. Like, it's Claudio you're wrestling. If you're ever gonna pull it out, like, do it now.
Yeah.
Like,
it's actually a little bit of an underrated talking point. they have definitely got more like rigid with their TV matches and the way they format them. They're definitely more like cookie cutters to extreme, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like there was definitely a point in time where the matches felt like a blank slate. The guys would just do whatever the fuck they wanted. And I get you have to rein in some of the boys, but like matches like this, I kind of miss the days where it just like, well, Brian, you got 10, so give them hell, you know? It was fun for what it was, though. Chuck, anything else in this match? I know I kind of talked all over the place there. So anything else you'd like to say about it?
No, I think I got my main point off. That it was just kind of, I wanted to see a reiteration of that Bandito match. I miss that guy. Hope he comes back soon. But yeah,
for real.
Claudio, I guess it does kind of make sense because Claudio is wrestling in a very serious way right now. Like we've seen it in AEW where he kind of like leans into like comedy's the wrong word, but like that bombastic style a bit more. But he's wrestling quite seriously at the moment, so it makes me wonder what his creative is going to be for the next little while. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have chosen Brian Cage for this role if that was the case.
So you're absolutely right, Charlie. But on the other hand, he had a fucking 619 last night. So it's like
this is but it happens, you know, like
it's weird because you could put together a highlight package of this match that would make us look like we're full of shit. Because there was
you guys even watch it.
Just, maybe we are full of shit. I don't know. Hey, are we full of shit? I think we're right. Maybe.
I don't think we're full. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to make it clear. I did like the match.
I did. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Match.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It was probably the best match in the show at this point. Maybe even I don't know.
Yeah, on it.
Jericho and Shibata was like, it's hard to compare those things because
it's not. It was FTW, you know, like.
Right, but I enjoyed it, and Cage is always, he's always reliable in these spots. It did pop me. Indeed. That Claudio promo, I love Claudio Castagnoli, but he didn't sound like much of a winner to me in that promo, you know? Like, being the best isn't about winning. What the fuck? Yes, it's
Bro, this is like the antithesis of everything you guys told us the Blackpool Combat Club was.
Yeah.
It's like day one.
They need a new head coach, bro. Doc Rivers ain't cutting it.
Regal. Regal's gone. Fucking Yuta Wheeler's in the shadow realm right now, bro. Claudio doesn't have anyone to beat up on. And it's just like, he just lost all morale.
It's like Brian's out because of his like this white neck injury or whatever. Like Mox is got the IWGP
Japan right now.
It's like
he's losing his mind. He's talking about being the best. He's showing up every day. No, it's not. Come on, man. This is a loser mentality.
Young boy to bully. Who can we throw here?
He needs a pep talk from Manny the Hooper. That's what he needs. He'd get him fired up. I'm telling you.
Come on, man. You know you're Cesaro, man. Like, come on, Cesaro. This is not what Cesaro would say, man. Joe, I gotta tell you, I sat there and I watched the promo and I was like, Cesaro, what are you doing? He'll call Cesaro 10 more times before Joe's like, yo, man, I don't think he goes by that anymore.
Bits aside, it was actually a really strong promo. I'm being silly here, but we had a promo from Rocky Romero after this, who is now going alone, the lone wolf.
I think he's full of shit, bro.
So do I. He's totally going to
full of shit. I think Roppongi Vice is back. If they don't do the Don Callis shit, but I think they should.
This was another one that popped me where he was like, I am going to call out the best. And I was like, oh my God, who's he going to call out? And he was like, my friend, Kyle O'Reilly. And I was like, well, I mean, Kyle's pretty cool, you know, that's what works for me. It popped me I wanted to see them wrestle. It just popped me. The way he set it up, I was like, oh my God, he's going to call out someone crazy. But yeah, we got to see that match later. We'll touch on it briefly, but
Speaking of calling out, this is not related. We had just talked about Wheeler Yuta. I've just suddenly remembered. Robbie Eagles has called out Wheeler Yuta for the ROH Pure title. And I saw this on Twitter last night, and I was very, very confused.
That's not a real title, is it? That's not a thing.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing.
But no one's seen Wheeler Yuta in about 4 months. So Wheeler
Yuta got concussed. Yeah. And from everything I hear, from my friends that are friends with Yuta, he's living his day-to-day life perfectly fine. He's like working out. He's like rolling around on the mats and shit. He's just not getting cleared to wrestle right now for whatever reason.
They can be concussions can be really scary.
Yeah.
In that regard, right. So at least his day-to-day is fine, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's important. But
I'd hear that.
I kind of assumed that's what Shelton was supposed to do, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was that report from Sean recently about Shelton's creative. I don't know if you guys know anything. I don't know
anything about it, but I saw that thing that Sean dropped that said he was set to like debut in AEW, but like somebody got injured and it ruined the creative or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of assumed they may have been doing a pure rules thing because that would kind of fit Shelton's, like his shtick, right, as a pure wrestler. So I don't know. I could be wrong. We wish the best to Wheeler Yuta. Those things are always kind of scary.
No,
so
Robbie Eagles calling him out. So.
Yeah.
Oh, the Eagles in big 2024, brother. Come on.
Listen, man.
What are we doing?
He's a good wrestler. He's a good wrestler.
Gargantua in 2024. Come on.
God, he is a good wrestler, but it was so random.
We're done with Robbie Eagles.
I love it. I said we wish him the best, and Chuck said Robbie Eagles has called him out.
I actually don't have an issue with Robbie Eagles. I just think he's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of bored of him now. I don't have an issue with Robbie Eagles.
Yeah, he had a really good best of the Super Juniors run.
No, he did. He was good during BOSJ last year.
Well, that was incredible.
Okay. I didn't expect to have to defend Robbie Eagles on this podcast, but here we are.
I agree, he's a good wrestler. Just the timing was funny, Yeah. But don't worry about it, Joe. Things are looking great. Robbie Eagles is called him. Robbie Eagles. All right.
Anyways, Dynamite. That's the show. We review that sometimes.
Yes, indeed. I believe we're at the main event match of Dynamite. I'm pretty sure. Serena Deeb, Mariah May. This is where the crowd was most disappointing because this match actually kicked ass. And the crowd, they had no interest in reacting. Mariah May has been like her consistency, bell to bell, since getting there, has honestly been like just incredible to me. Every time she's out there, she impresses you more. Right? It's really shines through the screen. I like the finish because there's stuff you can do with that, with the towel being thrown. There's a lot you can do there. I wish they had a better crowd, but I thought the match was killer. I thought it was by far the best match on Dynamite. I really did think it was comfortably the leader in that regard. What did you make of Mariah and Serena?
I love this match. I'm a big fan of both of these ladies. I'm glad they were able to go out there and they got. How much time did this match get?
It felt like they got some time. It definitely. I'll check for you while you're.
Yeah, they got time to go out there and get their shit in. I'm actually right here. It got oh wait, never mind, I botched. I fucked up. Never mind. Back to it.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I got 10 minutes and 31 seconds.
It was just 10 minutes.
So they got time to get their shit in. Wow, Cage match did not like this match. What the fuck? This site sucks, bro. Anyway, bro. Like, AEW women aren't allowed to do anything. But it was a good match. The whole exchanges, the strikes. Mariah May looks like she's trying to fucking kill you with those shotgun drop kicks that she hits. Those look deadly. And Serena did a good job bumping for those. What injury was she out with?
Serena?
Chad, health issues?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember that. It wasn't like an injury so much as it was.
Okay, so she just had something going on. All right.
I can't remember what it was.
She had some quite bad health issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was bumping her ass off for them. They were hitting each other hard and shit. Like I said, the whole exchanges. And I didn't mind the thrown in towel. She had seizures. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was pretty serious. Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be taking bumps, sister. But I'm not a doctor. Anyway, was that? It's not a laughing matter.
No, it's not.
Stop.
But
we are not laughing about the fact that Serena
I'm not laughing that she had seizures.
That was just incredibly comedic timing.
Pro wrestlers are ridiculous, bro.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Yeah, I'm not taking bumps out of the seizure. And like I said, I'm not a fucking doctor. Maybe it's not fucking related to head trauma at all. But I don't know. It can't be great for it. But after Mariah's been undefeated in AEW for a while, she's dropped 2 matches. She dropped 3 matches. She lost to Thunder Rosa, Deonna, and Serena now. So they got like this little losing streak storyline going. So all in, we're assuming it's Mariah May versus Toni Storm, right?
We are. Yes, I believe so.
So
Jamie Hayter it's hard to figure out that part of it, but yes.
Yeah, what she's got going on. So it looks like we're heading towards this breakup storyline soon. Tony threw in the towel for I don't like maybe Mariah's gonna start raising her eyebrow, or there's also the theory that Mariah's been evil this entire time. So maybe she uses that or whatever. But yeah, after being on the Tony Storm train and then off it, and then I think I'm back on now because she's been having good matches. I'm excited for this match. Excited for this eventual feud now.
Yeah, it feels like Tony's just figured out she can still kick ass as a wrestler and be timeless, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah,
that's good. I'd like to reiterate, folks, that while being a great professional wrestling podcaster and analyst, is not a doctor. He noted it himself.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I want to confirm that for the masses at
home. Maybe head trauma is great procedures. I don't know. I did not go to medical school.
Not a doctor, right? There you go, folks.
Not a doctor.
We're unclear. Charlie, I don't think you're a doctor. I don't think so.
No, a doctor.
You're not.
I dropped out of university.
Okay. Did you like the wrestling match?
This is something that I actually qualified to talk about. You like the match?
Yeah. I thought this match was great. Comfortably, like the best work on Dynamite, like bell to bell. And this whole throwing in the towel stuff, bro. It's like, is Tony trying to play Mariah whilst Mariah's already playing her? Like, is she scared to fight Mariah? Because if she keeps picking up wins, like I know everyone's ignoring the rankings, and we don't actually know if the rankings work or whatever the fuck goes on with those at these days.
But we're going off the vibes with the rankings.
The vibes, yeah. Like if she builds enough matches, like enough wins in her corner, like Tony ain't gonna have no choice but to give her a title shot eventually. So I think there is a very strong chance that Mariah May wins the not the Continental Classic. That would be crazy. What's the other fucking tournament? The Owen Hart Cup. The Owen Hart Cup. I think she wins that this year, and she uses that as a play to get a title shot. But yeah, the match was good. I kind of when I'm the last person to talk, I'm just like, you've taken all my points, so I'm going to talk around the rest of it.
No, but they did they have kind of teased it already with the scrum. Somebody asked Mariah. No, somebody asked Tony about, Mariah's been on this winning streak. She's ranked first in the rankings. Are you looking forward to wrestling her? And Tony just got up and left. So they're hinting.
Yeah, it feels like we're going to be accelerating that, right? It feels like it. So we shall see. Backstage, Copeland had a promo, and Kyle O'Reilly, with his not so new haircut, emerged and said Cope's a hero of his, and he has his back, basically, right? I think he said he doesn't dig it, I believe, was his exact phrasing. Yeah. Did anyone see Kyle on AEW this past weekend?
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard very good things about how funny it was.
I watched it, and he was fucking hilarious.
I was pretty aware of how quirky a personality Kyle was. I was expecting it. Was not prepared for just how big he would swing on this show. He was hysterical.
He was great. He's hitting some home runs too, bro. Yeah, I think he should show more of his personality on TV. I know he's tried in the past, and fans have been like, "What the fuck is this?" But I don't know, bro. Don't give up. I think you just need to bounce these ideas you have off the wall with people. Let them know if they think it's to be.
I need him to feud with a Brit so we can do his British impersonation, because it makes me laugh every time he does it. Like when he was doing it with Pete Dunne, it was the funniest shit in the promos.
Yeah,
so.
It's really challenging in that. Like Ao's right, he's absolutely tried to be that person before on TV, and it's not felt quite right. There has to be a way, right? There's got to be a way. So I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but nonetheless, he's got Copeland's back. So we'll see what that comes to. All right, main event segment up next. Before we get into it, I think we have a couple super chats, so let's get to those. Mate.
On us, the Sultan $2 super chat. I won't allow myself to enjoy Jericho. And look, you're 100% in your right to do that, and I don't know if I'm gonna let myself do it either. But unfortunately, he's gonna be on these shows, brother. So, Mustafa Sadiq, £5 super chat. We appreciate you. Wembley is ending with the Elite holding all the belts, with Hanger beating Swerve and Okada beating Omega, and I think we get Ospreay Danielson too. I do think the new direction is Hangman beating Swerve at all. So that's what's going to happen.
I agree with that part.
I 100% think Hangman's going to come back an unhinged heel. I don't think he joins the Elite, bro.
No.
I don't know. They said he was suspended,
Mm.
and he's home right now with the personal matter going on. So maybe they just suspended him to give him a chance for that so he could rejoin the company and rejoin the Elite or whatever. I don't know. Otherwise, maybe they would have just fired him too, like they fired Kenny. But
I think he's going to be adjacent. I don't think he's going to be in the core group. There's too much to his heel character for him to get sucked back into doing Elite stuff. Agree. And I love the Elite. But yeah, like he's at the stage in his career, he needs his own building blocks. That isn't just he's the 4th or 5th guy in this group. Like, I love him in the Elite and the stuff that he did in like the early 2020s. Crazy way to phrase that. But he needs to stand on his own feet as a heel. He can be associated with them.
I think that point is like absolutely accurate, but I also do wonder if for this particular angle, I'm very torn on it. Like
I think it's going to be a case of the Bucks are just going to keep like going to him and be like, "Hey, handle the Swerve problem. We'll clear your path. Do it." And Hangman's just going to be like, "I just want to kill the guy." Like that's
I think you're probably right with the potential middle ground of like associates again, right? I think that's probably the best way to go. I apologize if I appeared distracted there for a moment, folks. Someone just quoted me on Twitter and said that wrestling's scripted.
What?
I know you guys aren't doctors, but have you ever heard about this shit?
I haven't.
What do we do? That ain't true, right?
So we've just made like these thousands of hours of content, and this shit is fake?
Apparently.
Fake?
I don't buy it.
What did I drop out of university?
Yeah, I don't, folks. I'm sorry to even derail it with such a lie. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just.
I'm back. I remember that we're on the internet.
Wrestling's real again.
The internet is full of lies.
Yes.
Wrestling is real. It's still real to me, damn it.
Damn right. Absolutely.
Before we go back to Dynamite real quick, I wanted to talk about the second half of that super chat. I don't think that Bryan's wrestling Ospreay all in. I think that Ospreay's going to wrestle Pac, and they're rerunning that match in London. I think that's the direction they're going.
I actually think they're doing the Dragon Nigel match, to be honest with you.
I genuinely think they are doing the Danielson Nigel match.
On one hand, that would pop me immensely. On another hand, that's not the match I'm booking, bro.
Really?
I don't know what I'm booking, but I don't know if it's Nigel versus Dragon.
All I would say is, I think it's important to consider the moment it could be. I think
it would be a huge moment
because now this is all considering they tell the story, but that's Nigel's. He was at SummerSlam '92 at Wembley, and that was like a big moment for him deciding he wanted to be a wrestler. And I think the British fans will like. I'm not talking about the hardcore fans that go to Progress Pro. I'm talking about the people that watch AEW on TV. They will fucking love Nigel as an announcer. It'll be like Lawler back in the day with WWF crowds. So I get it. Like with Bryan, there's so many matches you could do, but I don't know. I think there could be something special there. But at the same time,
I'm fickle and I changed my mind. We're booking Nigel McGuinness versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson at all. Because you look at the card, bro, and it's like all these like super wrestlers wrestling super matches. And like, yes, Nigel was in the best in the world conversation when he retired. Well, not so much when he retired, but a couple years before that. But that was a long fucking time ago, bro. It's over 10 years ago at this point. So it's like, now, you don't know what kind of match you could have, but that's very much something that the vibes could carry that match. Get some moments on the card, bro. Like, we have all these fucking super matches we could possibly want.
Yeah.
If the fantasy
they need the grit. We need the gritty match, and that's going to be that. So
it is a worthwhile point. It's a worthwhile point because I mean, how long has it been? 13 years since Nigel wrestled. I think it's been like 13, 12 years.
Yeah. So, I think it's like 12. I think he had a match 2012.
Yeah, so it's a very and what are we 16 years past like his prime as a wrestler? 17. Like you're absolutely fair to be like, well, maybe this isn't the best idea. I don't know. I think we're going to find out honestly. So yes, we'll see what's happening with him.
Put that in the opening slot, and it could be special. I think that opening up Wembley this year.
Let's fucking do it. Why not, bro? Why not? People talking we have a Mega Okada on the card. We have fucking Ospreay Pac, Swerve Hangman. Why the fuck
the Bucks versus ENC?
Yeah, come on.
And it's important too, like because we've talked about this before. People have got the wrong kind of idea with Bryan's retirement. Brian is going to work Wembley as long as they run Wembley. He will always come back for those shows.
Yeah.
So, like, there'll be chances to go back to Brian in ring at Wembley, I think. So, all right, folks, final call for super chats. But for now, we'll talk about the closing segment Dynamite. Then we'll do a segment on Willow and Sky.
We got one more. Angie and $2 super chat. Piper in Portland, Jack in Chicago, Kenny in Winnipeg. That is when Kenny. That is when.
The big three. The big three. Tremendous. All right, there you go, folks. Keep them coming. Oh my God, did we lose them again?
I'm sick of this shit. I don't actually know if he's doing a bit this time or if his internet shut itself.
Unfortunately, that one was not bit. My laptop fucked on me, but I'm back.
Okay, good. All right, just in time to talk about the great Kenny Omega, who was back, looking incredible, it must be said.
Yeah.
And he got the microphone for a live promo. And honestly, this is one of those ones where promo doesn't really feel the right word necessarily. But I'm going to use it because the beauty of a wrestler like Kenny is you never quite know what percentage is him being real and what percentage is him working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that stands for his Twitch streams and everything. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know what he's going to do. He may be back. I don't know. But like he basically explained the whole roller coaster he's been on for this last 5 months. And it was really powerful stuff. I think this is clearly his best, again, promo in AEW by far, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
His whole presentation here. I mean, even when he gets back in that ring, and I think it's fair to say when at this point, he needs to be like the top babyface as long as he's healthy in some regard. Now again, I say top, obviously, Swerve, Ospreay, but there's a difference. Have you guys seen the YouTube numbers for this segment? I'm sorry to do analytics.
They're insane compared to everything else on the show.
People fucking love Kenny Omega, dude. Like, he's like a symbol of everything people like about AEW.
Yeah.
And he got a great promo here. Again, I think he's best in AEW. And then Okada arrived, and this was the biggest moment of the night of like, God, if this could have happened anywhere else, this crowd did not appreciate how big a moment this was, right? Like, we got it anyway, and it was a super cool visual. Kenny opposite Okada. Okada said he's now the best bout machine. Then Jack Perry attacked Kenny from behind, and we had some physicality where Kenny kicked some ass, right? I mean, he was regretting it. He was like the old gunslinger in there. It was awesome. And eventually they left him laying, and the Bucks came down and even got involved themselves, hit the EVP trigger.
Yes.
FTR, as everyone expected, made the save. And it bled into it. There was even more chicanery from the famed EVPs.
Yeah.
The attack on Rampage was brutal. Daddy Magic said that kids were crying. It was unbelievable.
I did not fucking see that coming, bro. Like,
no, maybe.
Joe, as an FTR stand, like, if you were told that 2 people are running out there to make the save for Kenny Omega, how far down the list do you think you would get before you were like, yeah, it's going to be Dax and Cash?
So, it's insane, obviously, but I think it works in the sense that they're not friends. They have common enemies now, right? Because Jack cost FTR, obviously, in the ladder match. So I actually think there's like an interesting story to be told in terms of Kenny has been so close to the Elite and the EVPs that he doesn't have many friends outside of them because that's his family, right? It's like the only guys he now has to trust
are common enemies with the EVPs.
Like bits aside, I actually think it could be pretty cool, but I definitely did not see it coming. I mean, I literally tweeted in the middle of the show. I thought FTR were going to be gone for a bit, so it caught me way off guard. But yeah, so much here. I'll go straight to you on this segment. Kenny's promo, the physicality, the Bucks beatdown, FTR, all of that and everything in between. What did you make of the closing segment of Dynamite?
Bro, every time we get to see Kenny Omega now, I'm just so happy, bro. And my GOAT, he comes out there, has a huge announcement, huge star entrance, and then he cuts probably the best promo of at least his American wrestling TV career. Bro, like, and with the guys like Kenny, bro, like, you never know how much is kayfabe and how much is actual real life. Like, I remember when the last time he came back from like those 18 fucking surgeries, and he had all that shit all over him. He had like 5 knee braces on. He had a thing around his shoulder. He had like wrap around his body and shit. And people were like, "Yo, Kenny's cooked. Like, look at all the shit he needs just to wrestle." And I was like, "No, this is a work. Like, he's working y'all. He's letting y'all know like he's not like who he used to be or whatever. He might not never get there or whatever, but he's gonna be fine." But with last night, I'm not sure, bro. When he's talking about, they're telling me he might need a fucking colostomy bag and shit. He might need it for a year. He might never get off the colostomy bag. He's gonna have to get flayed open like a fish. If he takes a stomach bump, he's gonna die or whatever. Like, I assumed the whole stomach thing was kind of a word, because like on his Twitch stream, he was like, "Yeah, I've been working out again, and I'd kick most of the people in AW's ass in the gym or whatever." So I was like, "All right, like he's not like the chance of him dying spontaneously are probably gone now, right?" But I don't know, like maybe he still needs the surgery. Maybe he already had the surgery. Maybe he never needed surgery. I don't fucking know. You never know with a guy like Kenny, bro. But that was the promo. Like, he had me in the palm of his hand when he was cutting that promo. Yeah. And then Jack comes out. Yeah. Jack comes out. This physicality. Well, Okada comes out first, and then they attack him. Jack comes out. He fucking hits Snapdragon on him and shit. Lines him up for the V trigger. Okada trips up his leg, and then he just gets fucking jumped. And then FTR come out and save him. And bits aside, I don't like those fascists. But wrestling.
Bits aside,
I don't like those fascists, bro. But I think it'll be fine. Wrestling TV. I just like went on a rant saying the Bucks and FTR, they have like anti-TV chemistry, and I don't want to see them working together anymore. But I don't know. Maybe this could be interesting. This could be an interesting dynamic where he's like Kenny's goons.
Yeah, I honestly think this version of the Bucks, I think we saw a little bit in that ladder match. I think they're going to be fine. I honestly do. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe I'll be wrong, but I'm hopeful.
I don't listen to Observer Radio or whatever, but I saw a quote from the homie Kwame. He was basically like, Dave was saying it was a missed opportunity that Ospreay didn't go out there and get involved in this elite angle. You think about it, like Ospreay and Kenny and kayfabe, they fucking hate each other. Ospreay just dropped another kayfabe quote talking about how he still doesn't like Kenny over his comments about his New Japan run and shit. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. But it makes sense in the sense that it's just like, this is like, as much as people love Moxley, like Kenny Omega is fucking Kenny Omega to the people, and he's irreplaceable. And I don't hate the idea of like Ospreay and Swerve getting a rub from Kenny as like the next two like top baby faces, but they also they got their own shit going on right now. It would be hard to include them in this, while he's also got the Don Callis family shit going on, and then Ospreay's got the Undisputed Kingdom shit going on. So I don't know. And then especially since you guys are thinking that Anarchy in the Arena is coming up too, so you got to build towards that. But go ahead, Joe.
No, I just wanted to with Swerve. I think there's a fine line between. I think he should be anti the Elite, but I don't think he needs to be like Team AEW, because to me, Swerve's like cooler than that. You know, it's like, I don't want Swerve to be cutting the promos about like what you've done to this place. He could just be like, "Fuck those guys."
This place gave me an opportunity. This place gave me a chance. No, we don't need that, bro.
Cooler than that, man. Like, keep his edge. I think his stuff with them should be simply about thinking they're assholes. That's what it should be. Yeah. Ospreay, I get the point in a vacuum, but I don't know. It doesn't really add up beyond that, does it? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of
especially if he's not going to be involved in that match. So
I'm not sure. It's one of those points that there are versions of Dynamite. If Dynamite was booked differently and it was like more main character heavy, it'd make more sense. But they rotate so much, right? But I think Garcia's going to get involved. I think they've kind of set that up a little bit, right? So I'm hoping he's going to be involved. He did the deal with Okada a couple weeks back, but hopefully. Chuck, what did you make of the big segment here?
Kenny Omega is quite the wrestler, isn't he?
I like him.
he's great. They like, we've already said it. Like, this was like his best like promo work in AEW like ever. Like the way that he was like just talking about like his illness and that is, it's like he said, "I'm going to spare you the gory details, but the doctors told me that I need to be filleted like a fish." I was like, okay, I guess thanks for sparing the gory details if that's not one of them. Like, but like the face-to-face with Okada, if this had happened anywhere else, it would have brought the entire arena down. But Winnipeg didn't seem to care about Okada, which was kind of wild to me, but I don't know what if Kenny's cleared, if he's just a bit of an idiot taking the pumps that he took last night. Like, how much are we being worked? I don't know. But that's the beauty of it, I think, that they're really playing into it. Like, it's good to get swept up in it. Like, it's good.
Kenny has a lot of old school sensibilities.
He does.
He just has a new way of looking at it. He totally believes in keeping us a little bit unsure of what's real and what's not. And one thing that makes it more interesting in that regard is on his streams, which I think have been great watches, by the way. I recommend anyone who's a wrestling fan, I think Kenny Omega to wrestling is one of the best things you can watch. He actually talks a lot about like being smart and selective about the bumps you take, which makes me wonder even more what the circumstances of these bumps he took were. Because like the one on the stretcher was like
crazy.
In the sound it made, I don't know. I have no clue where that dude's physical status is. And I kind of, as you said, that's kind of the charm of this. So we'll see. Maybe he's back sooner than later. Maybe this is the last time we see him for a long time. I don't know. Hopefully it's obviously the first one, but hopefully he's well, most importantly.
Yeah, when it comes to FTR making the save, I thought it was very, very funny because I'd literally just tweeted, why is no one coming to save him? And then their music hit. I was just like, this isn't what I wanted, but oh well. But it does make sense because they're just coming out of Dynasty with the match with the Bucks, and they're friends with Adam Copeland, who keeps like he has this whole thing with not liking what the Bucks are doing, and that's how they're going to bring Adam Copeland in. It all ties together eventually, but I don't know. It was quite funny after seeing them, thinking that Dax was going to be out with concussion for a while. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Concussions are so, like, sometimes they can literally be a week, you know, and the guy gets cleared. So it's impossible to say. I really hope we get some segments where, like, even when Kenny is back part of the roster, him trying to figure out whether or not he should trust FTR is good TV. You know, like, the only time he's really worked opposite FTR was when they were fucking with Hangman, who was his tag partner.
Yeah.
And that was like some of the nastiest shit they've ever done in AEW, right? That was like spiteful. So
whole lot of morality with the wrestlers involved in this storyline right now.
Yeah, and that's a great sign.
They've all done some
that's what it
fucked up
be.
shit. So.
Yeah, it's like I just hope we wrestle with that and figure out the right and wrong in that. You know, I think there's a lot to be said. Like, I also like the idea of Kenny as like Captain AEW, realizing that he was involved in some brutal shit alongside the Bucks, right? Like, there's, again, we're 2 weeks into the angle. We'll know in like a year what this ended up being and what this paid off to be. We don't know. The potential is immense. And I think 2 weeks in, thumbs up both parts, right? I think they've done a great job. So I'm very positive right now, and I hope it stays that way because they need a central angle. They need a centerpiece of the show. So hopefully this can be that. We're off to a very, very good start. Before we briefly touch on Rampage, let's get to a couple of those super chats, mate. Take it away.
Ben, $5 super chat. We appreciate you, bro. My hero, GOAT, God Savior, best of best, cell phone wide. Kenny, cell phone wide? When you got saved by 2 extras, not even jobbers. Monty's voice, what are we doing? I blame Joe. Hey, man. If you're going to point your fingers, Joe's not a bad place to start. It's not a bad place to start.
I got to wear that one, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a shame.
Zora Hart, $5 super chat. I think the elite angle can only be improved. Folding more top stars into a Swerve, especially as world champion, needs to be better than FTR, I fear.
I wouldn't get Swerve directly involved. I think his title run being affected by stuff the elite's doing makes sense because of they're booking the shows now. Of course they're going to be like messing around with shit, like with the world title and that. But he shouldn't be directly involved. I think saying his character's above it is the wrong way to phrase it, but he just like he's not the rah-rah guy. He's not Adam Copeland, is the point I'm getting at.
I
like
agree,
he's not
the
company spirit guy.
The key is if we're not going to have him like super involved, we still need to make sure his stuff feels just as, if not more important. That's the key.
Important, you don't want it to seem lesser than that. Exactly. I wouldn't mind them folding him in really quickly, do like a blood and guts maybe, and then he gets out. Because like blood and guts is just like
that makes sense.
It takes up the entire Dynamite anyway, right? So he's not gonna be on the fucking show. You just cut a promo or whatever. So let him be in the blood and guts match against from the elite, away from the elite, and there's plenty of time from now until whenever they usually run blood and guts. What is it, like July, June or something. For them
End
to
of
like,
June?
for them to affect Swerve enough where he's like, yeah, I'm the world champion. Yeah, like my top priority is defending this belt, but like the Elite are becoming a real problem. I want to be in this match.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't hate that, but I wouldn't want him to be like in a months long multi-man feud with them.
And when he joins the team, it should be presented as like a huge deal.
A huge deal. Like, who could we possibly get? Oh, we got the world fucking champion.
And the Elite should sell it as such, right? Like, it should be like, oh shit, now we're in trouble. So
especially because they're the one that have chosen Christian as his first opponent on a pay-per-view. It's just like, fuck, the business that we've handled hasn't been, like, we've tried to handle hasn't been handled. And that's how you get to Hangman versus Swerve at All In. There you go.
Need the whiteboard. I need the
whiteboard.
Mustafa Sadiq, £2 super chat. Thank you. Think Kenny worked us? He's working double or nothing. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
I'd be happy, bro.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it is.
WrestlePurists' own good job, Marcus. I agree with this 100%. Because I was like, wait, what? Yo, you got to answer for that Yas tweet, Joey. Like, I don't think this is part of your everyday vernacular. You're a very verbose individual, Joe. I don't think I've ever heard you say Yas. So seeing that tweet last night, like, it made me, I was concerned a little bit. What's going on? What was your thought process there?
Sometimes you just get swept up in the moment, you know? You get swept up, and it is, while I don't often say it in real life, shocking, I know, I do think it is a great, just one-shot tweet, you know? Because...
yes.
Yeah, like, the idea, like, if you saw the screenshots, and of which there were many,
they were very
you know, everyone else was, like, tweeting, you know, phrases, and mine were just 3 letters, all caps, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
I respect it, bro. I respect it.
It felt right. It felt reflective of where I was at in that moment. Because it's the FTR thing is now like a double pop for me, and it's like, oh shit, my favorite tag team's back, and also imagine how much my tweet is going to stick out on the timeline. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, look, Ibu just said it. I text him it regularly, so it's just it's a part of my weaponry when I'm typing. It's part of my arsenal. The other one I use a lot is the flags. I don't know if you guys have seen me incorporate.
The American flags pop me.
Yes.
So if it will send me like it'll be like a clip of someone doing it, and I'll just reply with like Japanese flag. That's all I've got.
Money has also started doing this. I just get flags and reply. I'm just like, all right, bro. I guess the conversation's over.
Well, you know, I'm a trendsetter, is what it is.
All right. Raygarian, euros? €2 super chat. Bigger upset. Christian defeats Swerve or AJ beating Cody? As much as AEW loves Swerve, I don't think they see him as their Cody.
Yeah.
So I think you have to go with AJ beating Cody.
AJ beating Cody would be fucking hilarious.
I don't know though. Have you seen the shape he's in?
AJ looks like he's been fucking juicing up for the title run.
I know you don't watch the Fed, Chuck. You don't either, but I don't think it'll pop you as much as it pop out. You've got to watch that video they've uploaded of his like training camp.
I'm gonna go find it because I've seen the pictures. The pictures of AJ are hilarious. The first one that popped up when he returned, bro, from his break. Oh, this isn't fucking AJ style.
In this video, at one point, he goes over and he has like his own basketball court in the backyard, and it has the phenomenal logo on the
court.
Because of course it does, bro.
He begins to skip like a madman. He's doing a Rocky montage, and he's talking about time's ticking. You know, I got to prove the doubters wrong. It is fucking incredible. I don't know how good the match will be. I'm hoping it'll be good, but it's a great deal. So there's that.
I think this will be pretty bad, bro. I love AJ.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I love Cody, but if this is bad, like just think of the jokes I'll get off.
The thing is, and I know like I'm the heat merchant among us, but that crowd is going to be so hot, bro. Like I think
they are, unfortunately. They are.
You won't need to do anything. I don't like they're going to be so rocking, but
AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes staring at each other is going to get like holy shit chants.
Oh, for sure. It'll be a huge
French Parisman.
Absolutely. On Rampage, okay, we'll do this quickly. I want to talk about the main event a little bit, but the first 2 matches, incredibly funny to have that angle followed by Jay White's entrance. I love the idea that in kayfabe everyone's losing their shit, and Jay's like, "Could someone hit my fucking music?" He just made his entrance.
Music, bro. I got fucking 9 belts out here on stage with me,
brother. They were quiet throughout the night. Their sound level in this Jay White match was it was uncomfortable at times. It was dead silent. They had a good, nice little match though. I mean, Jay's really
it was good work.
It was good.
Where the fuck's his third belt come from? Is it the original Trios belt?
Yes,
Jay White's running around with 3 belts.
Oh, he's got 3 belts on him.
God bless.
I couldn't figure it out.
The second match was damn good too. Kyle and Rocky had a really nice match.
Really
again.
Enjoyed this.
It was a nice treat for those of us that care. I don't know how many people cared in the building, but I enjoyed it.
Like 2 hours, 40 minutes into a wrestling show. It's like, nice, easy wrestling to watch.
The lads are out there grappling.
I forget who, and I'm sorry. If you're in the chat, let me know. But somebody messaged me. They was like, what an era of professional wrestling. You can just turn on the telly. And they're not American, they're not English either, but they said telly or whatever. And they're like, you just turn on the telly and have Rocky Romero and Kyle O'Reilly throw around that ball at 10:45 at night on a Wednesday. I was like, it's just crazy, bro.
Honestly, it's a good tweet and it's right. It's true, man. It's fun. Like that's like the throwaway match. The crowd again. You didn't have the crowd. We had fun with it. So there was that, and then we had the Manitoba Mayhem. Was it called Manitoba Mayhem?
Yes.
Mariah? Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue. There were a couple moments early that wasn't as violent as you'd hope, and then they were erased by some unhinged shit down the stretch. And this culminated with a barbed wire spot that I did not see coming to close a 3-hour block of television. That inside the ropes had been a pretty cold evening, right? Like it wasn't a lot to write home about. They went. I mean, they swung for the. Was it Massacre? Chat said Massacre. Okay, Manitoba Massacre. Regardless, they kicked ass. They made the most of this. I just thought it was cool to see them. And the 2 best matches on this 3-hour block were the women's matches to me. So, I never like to do the big victory about the division being better because, it's been 5 years. I'm glad it's good now, but it has got a lot better sincerely. I thought Willow and Sky killed it. I was happy for them. Chuck, anything on the closing match of this 3-hour block?
It was a nice little bow on this feud that Willow's been in, and we finally close the chapter on the Spooky Sisters in the best way, I think. Sky, I get why she wants to do these matches because she is so game for literally just about anything. And I saw tweets that it took them several minutes to get her out of that table after they went off air. So I hope she's okay at least. But bro, they were going this is why I kind of resented the Jericho match even more, because if this had been the only plunder match on the show, it would have gotten crazy reactions even that late into the night. So, but good on them, man. They really went out there and killed it. So I'm really happy for both of them.
I was kind of, when I was watching, I was kind of thinking maybe this should have been on the main show, quote unquote. But I get it. You need a hook for something right on that second show. So it's tough. What did you make of Willow and Sky?
I like this a lot, bro. Matches like this make me feel bad that I come on here and I get kind of spiteful about Sky Blue. But I mean, Sky's issue's never been she can't have a good match with a Willow or a Statlander type. So I guess that was to be expected. But I enjoyed this a lot. Sky is really game to take these nasty bumps and take these hardcore bumps and shit. And as is Willow, bro. Every time they have these types of matches, which has been more than a couple times now. They go for it. They go for it every time, bro. Fucking sick bumps and fucking nasty spots. So I knew this would be something to look out for. I didn't expect that I was gonna enjoy it as much as I actually did. But they knocked this out the fucking park, bro. Maybe last night's Dynamite should have been one of those mythical 2 women's matches night. But like you said, you need a hook for somebody watch the fucking 3rd hour of AEW television on a weeknight. So
it worked too. It was an actual attraction for the show. I mean, I would have watched Rocky and Kyle because I'm insane, but I'd imagine
I was gonna watch that regardless.
Yeah, I'd imagine more people will stay around for this. I'm gonna guess.
You guys saw that main event to Jericho. Hey, bro, we got your main event on Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Rampage, baby.
You're the only guy we can trust to close it out.
You're the only guy we can trust to keep butts in seats all night.
All right, folks. There it is. Dynamite, another one in the books. Weird show, uneven, but there was some good stuff. And I think the main thing, they hit the key point of following up on the big angle. So
yeah,
I'm happy about that, and we'll see what they have up their sleeve next week. Before we get out of here, Ayo, any plugs from you, mate? Anything you'd like to put over, promote?
Not really. We might have a Sunday show this weekend. I don't know.
Okay. Jealous, to be honest. All right. Meanwhile, here in Holbertland, tomorrow night we are back, 10:30 Eastern, the late night crew, and we're going to be previewing the Backlash show that we were just talking about a moment ago. So please do keep that in mind. If you're bored tomorrow after SmackDown, Rampage, of course, is not on. Speaking of such, late night crew, dude, we're at like 980 subscribers for late night crew. It took us like 2,000 videos to get there. We're so close to that 1,000 mark. So if you're watching this and you don't think I'm a complete prick, I'd appreciate you going over there and subscribing and showing us some love. All right. With that established, Chuck, feel free to promote anything yourself and then take us home. This has been a good time. Go for it.
I don't have any plugs right now. There is a feature that I'm working on that will come out eventually. I've just kind of been busy with real life stuff at the moment because my sister gets married at the end of the month. So there has been a lot of work on that front with getting prepared for the wedding. So on that note, Girls on Graps this weekend, probably not going to happen because we had to do a different schedule stuff because Alexi can't do it later in the day, and now I can't do it earlier in the day because of wedding prep stuff. So no Girls on Graps this weekend. Might be on the Sunday show if we end up doing one. I'll be on pretty much every Thursday this month though. Maybe not the 30th though. We'll see what happens.
We should know too, Chuck. This is important. Last week we did a great job of this. You have to comment below the video. Last week we got like 20 of these.
We did.
So we're going to try it. We need to keep it going. Okay, folks.
It helped a lot, guys. Please comment.
Yes. What could they comment? Let's give them some inspiration here. What did we
tell us your opinions on Jericho?
Do that.
Like
also comment. I still think AO is a doctor. I think that would be a good one.
It's a good bit.
Debate on whether I'm a doctor or not.
Also,
I want you to guess how many times in a day Joe Holbert texts me the N-word. and look, I'll give y'all a hint. It ain't 0, brother. It ain't 0.
I'm gonna ignore that and say you should also comment. When is Monty gonna let go of Jeff Hardy? That's another one you can comment.
Yes.
Something about Dynamite too, if you're interested. All right, Chuck.
Who's your left field pick for Team AEW? There you go.
There you go. All right, Chuck. Take us home.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Again, leave all those comments. Thank you for all the super chats today. I don't know if there's going to be a stream tomorrow, but we will see you guys for the Dynamite review next week. Peace.